The rain poured relentlessly, mirroring the turmoil in my heart. It had been 5 long days since I'd stumbled upon the haunted army hospital, an event that had shaken me to my core. What I had seen there, heard there, it still echoed in the chambers of my memory. From the moment I stepped into that desolate place, it had felt like a scene straight out of a horror movie. The very air seemed to whisper tales of pain and despair. I had seen enough movies to recognize the signs of an impending scare. Yet what I experienced at the hospital was something beyond any cinematic creation. It was terrifyingly real. As I made my way through the relentless downpour, I couldn't help but shiver, not just from the cold, but from the growing dread within me. The isolation of the situation, the eerie silence broken only by the drumming of rain, it all contributed to a symphony of fear. When I finally managed to flag down a passing vehicle and sought refuge within its warmth, I was struck by an unexpected wave of dizziness. It was as if the mere mention of the hospital had conjured its horrors in my mind once again. How could a place so steeped in sorrow and death affect me so profoundly? And then there was Captain Vinod, a man whose enigmatic nature left an indelible mark on my soul. His weathered face, lined with the stories of countless battles, had hinted at a past laden with both triumph and tragedy. Those steely eyes, they held a depth that seemed to peer into my very being, as though he could see through the facade I so carefully constructed. When he offered me a place of safety within the confines of his home, I had hesitated, torn between the need for shelter and the instinct to flee from the shadows that seemed to cling to him. But his words, spoken with the quiet confidence of a seasoned soldier, had compelled me to trust him. Yet how could I have been so naive? For what I found at his house was a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked within those rain-streaked walls. The sight of the blood-stained mattress, the lingering scent of decay, it all pointed to a grim history of suffering and loss. In that moment, I realized that I had traded one haunted place for another, escaping the specters of the hospital only to confront them anew in the very sanctuary meant to offer solace. Fear coiled around my heart, squeezing the breath from my lungs. I had thought myself strong enough to withstand the horrors that awaited me. I had believed I could face the darkness head-on. But as the reality of my situation crashed upon me, I knew I was wrong. My mind reeled, grappling with the enormity of what I had gotten myself into. How could I escape this nightmare? As I struggled to come to terms with my fate, I found myself inexplicably drawn to the window. Outside, the rain continued its relentless assault, blurring the world beyond the glass. I watched as each drop raced down the pane, carrying with it the weight of my mounting terror. Then, as if in answer to my silent plea, I saw a light in the distance. A faint glimmer of hope pierced through the gloom. Could it be a savior sent to rescue me from the clutches of this sinister abode? Or was it just another trick of my desperate mind, a cruel mirage offering respite only to lead me deeper into the abyss? With renewed determination, I rushed to the door, flinging it open and stepping out into the rain. The night air enveloped me, bringing with it the fresh scent of wet earth. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe that I was free. But that fleeting sense of liberation was short-lived. For as I turned to cast one last glance at the house, I saw him standing there, silhouetted against the dim light that spilled from the window. It was Captain Vinod, and in that instant, I knew I was not alone. And that, dear listener, is where our tale ends for today. But fear not, for this is merely a pause, a breath before the continuation of our harrowing journey. Until then, let the darkness envelop you, and the shadows play their tricks. For when we meet again, the horrors will unfold anew,